What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. It's Height Over Heart MMA. It's my first ever YouTube video, so if this thing sucks, we're just going to forget about it and then move on to the next one. I love MMA, and I love betting on MMA, so why not throw the two together and see what happens. So this weekend, we got UFC 321, Tom Aspinall versus Gane for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. I'm going to go through every fight on the card, give my breakdown and predictions, and I'm also going to talk about some bets that I really like for each fight, so let's get into it. So first fight of the night, we got women's strawweight, Jacqueline Amarim versus Mizuki Inoue. Amarim is coming in as a huge favorite, minus 450. It's women's MMA. You never like to see big favorites like that, but I do think it is. I do think it's accurate here. Inoue hasn't fought in 2 years. She's only fought 2 or 3 times in the last 5 or 6 years. Her last win was over Hannah Goldie, who's now doing OnlyFans. And I just think Amarim's on a whole nother level here. She's only got 1 loss. It was the Sam Hughes in her UFC debut. I think every other win she has is by finish. She's a submission specialist. We did see her struggle with getting the submission in that 1 loss to Sam Hughes. She had a fully locked in rear naked choke 4 or 5 times and literally didn't have the physical strength to do it. But I think she's the pick here. I like her as a parlay piece. I think the minus 3.5 is a good bet. Anyway, I don't believe it's ever been finished. And she's fought some decent competition. She's fought Alexa Grasso in the UFC. She fought Verna Jandiroba and Karolina Kovacevic outside of the UFC. She also fought Amanda Lemos in the UFC. So she's facing decent competition. Never been finished. If you want to play Amarim by sub, or this fight does not go to distance, I don't blame you. But Amarim is going to be the pick here. All right, next fight. We got Azat Maxim versus Mitch Raposo at the flyweight division. Raposo 0-2 in the UFC. Lost split decisions in his last 2 fights. He really wasn't in either one of those fights. I'm not sure exactly how they were splits. He's a decent boxer, decent wrestling. He's a New England cartel guy, if that tells you anything. And they got Maxim on the other side, Kazakhstan fighter. Good striking, good grappling, very well rounded. He is coming off that loss at Tagir Ulanbekov on short notice, where he arguably could have won that fight. And I don't see a path for Raposo to get the win here. He's pretty gun shy. He doesn't do a lot of damage, especially with his takedowns. I don't think he's going to be able to take Azak down. So Maxim's going to be the pick. I like bets I like in this fight. I like to go over 2.5. Raposo is pretty tough. Maxim, I don't believe, has ever been finished. So I like the over 2.5 this fight. If you wanted to play Maxim inside the distance, decision, no action, I think that's a good bet too. But Maxim should be a parlay piece. Next fight, we got the people's main event. Chris Barnett versus Hamdi Abdel Wahab. So Hamdi, minus 400 favorite is just ridiculous. He's 1-1-1 in the UFC. Got popped for roids in his debut. He was an Olympic wrestler for the Egypt national team and does have good wrestling, but doesn't really use it much. I think that's because he's afraid of gassing out. Then we got Chris Barnett on the other side, 5'9", basically 300 pounds, almost 40 years old, coming off either a knee injury or an Achilles injury where he literally, his body weight in his last fight basically made him rupture his Achilles or blow out his knee or something. Hamdi should not be minus 400 favorite against anybody. He lost to Mo Usman in his last fight, who is terrible. He won a split decision over Jamel Pogues before that, which he didn't win. And Chris Barnett might be incredibly obese, but he's actually very athletic. He's a tough dude. So I'm going to be going with the dog here. I probably wouldn't touch this fight. I do like the over 1.5. Hamdi's never been finished. He's a tough dude. Barnett's the same way. He's a tough guy. Doesn't have a ton of knockout power. But I think it'll go over 1.5. I think there's probably a good chance it goes to a decision. But if I got to make a pick, I'm gonna go with Barnett here. If you want to play Barnett spread, where at least plus 3.5, at least wins around, I think that will probably hit unless Hamdi is back on the sauce and pulls off some sort of finish. But you also have to remember we are in Abu Dhabi in the Middle East, so Hamdi, we'll probably get a nice little scorecard from the judges here if it goes to a decision. All right, next up, we got a pretty good matchup here in the featherweight division. Nathaniel Wood versus Jose Delgado. Nathaniel Wood, very, very good, well-rounded MMA fighter, but he's small for this division. He moved up from bantamweight. He's not the biggest guy, and tons of skill, but he doesn't have a lot of finishing potential either. Delgado on the other side, 2-0 in the UFC, both finishes, coming off that knockout win over Hyder Emil, who I honestly didn't think could get knocked out with that blockhead that he has. But Delgado, I think, has all but one win by finish in his career, and part of this channel being height over hard is that most of the time we're probably going to go with the taller fighter. And so Delgado is 5 inches taller than Wood here. He has the finishing upside. He's younger. I think Delgado's probably the pick. I'm probably going to stay away from him personally. But if you want to go Delgado inside the distance, or this fight to not go the distance, I think those are both good bets. All right, next fight, we got Walter Walker versus Louis Sutherland. Louis Sutherland was supposed to fight a couple weeks ago against Justin Tafa. That fight got canceled because Justin Tafa, almost dies cutting to the heavyweight limit. We got Walter Walker, the heel hook monster, 3 heel hook wins in a row. I'm gonna pick Walter Walker because until he loses, I'm gonna keep picking him. But I cannot get that Lucas Brzeski fight out of my head where he looked just terrible. And even in his last win over Nzechukwu, he probably shot the worst takedown I have ever seen. He shot from all the way across the cage, got stuff, but ended up pulling off the heel hook. So if Walter Walker, gets a takedown here, rolls for the leg, gets a heel hook, I wouldn't be surprised. But Louis Sutherland is a big guy. I mean, look at those traps. Definitely on the sauce. And he could definitely get a... Don't be surprised if he got a knockout here with Walter Walker rolling around on the ground and Louis Sutherland lands some big shots. But I think it's going to be Walter Walker. I think the fight does not go the distance as a safe play here. If you want to put Walker in a parlay or just bet him straight up, I don't blame you, but probably something I'm not going to touch. All right, next fight, we got Abdul Al-Sawadi versus Mateus Camillo. Camillo coming off that loss in the debut to Gabe Green, where he just made some stupid decisions and kind of gassed out, ended up getting submitted. Sawadi is coming off that knockout loss to Loic Radzhabov. Sawadi's a pretty good fighter. He's well-rounded. He has a lot of volume. He'll mixing the takedowns, but his weakness has been getting KO'd. Camille on the other side, he's pretty well-rounded. He doesn't have a ton of knockout power. He's got some knockouts, but doesn't really have that one-hitter quitter power. This is a fight that I am totally staying away from. If you feel confident about a side, go ahead and bet it, but I don't feel confident either one of these guys. I need them to, show me something a little more. I'm gonna take Camillo for the pick. There's always that knockout chance, and Sawadi seems like he doesn't have the best chin, so I'm gonna go with Camillo. No confidence at all in that pick. Next fight, Mateusz Rebecki versus Ludwig Klein. I'm taking Ludwig Klein in this one. Rebecki has been in just absolute wars in his last 3 fights. I'm like, he took a ton of damage against Diego Ferreira despite dropping him in the first round. Ferreira came back and won that fight, took a ton of damage. The fight against Orobai, was life-changing, and then he turns around and fights Chris Duncan and has another life-changing amount of damage given to him. and that was only a couple months ago. So he's here making a relatively quick turnaround considering the damage that he's taken. Then you got Ludovic Klein, very good striker, only been finished once or twice in his career. Just got dominated by Gamrot in the wrestling. But honestly, he did better in that fight than I think a lot of people remember. In that third round, he really started stuffing some takedowns. Kind of got a second wind and was doing pretty well on the feet. I just think he's a much better striker than Rebecca. Rebecca throws basically the same 1-2 combination, or right hook, the left straight combination over and over again. He has good grappling, but he doesn't have the best wrestling. I don't think he's gonna take Klein down here, so gonna take Klein for the pick. Rebecca's taking so much damage, Klein might knock him out here, but until that chin gets checked, I'm just gonna take Klein by decision. Next fight, we got Ikram Aliskerov versus Jung Young Park, the Iron Turtle. I love the Iron Turtle. Uh, Ikram should probably win this fight. He's extremely well rounded. He's got all knockouts in the UFC. I mean, if you look at the competition, it's really kind of awful. And then he's got really good wrestling. We just haven't seen it in the UFC. Young Park on the other side, pretty well rounded. Doesn't have a lot of power in his hands. More of a volume guy, but he does have good wrestling. He has good offensive wrestling, good jiu-jitsu, and very good boxing. He's just not super dangerous. Kind of wears on guys and kind of gets them to gas out by just pressuring, and then he ends up winning the fight late. We did see him take a huge knee to the face in his last fight, and I can't believe he kept going, but he came back and then won that fight. So I don't. Park has only been knocked out one time. I don't really see Aliskerov knocking him out. I mean, the guys he's knocked out is like Worley Alves, Andre Muniz, who can get knocked out by a gust of wind. So I think this fight's gonna go over 1.5. I'm gonna pick, and I'm gonna pick Park as the dog here. I don't think Ikram is worth all the hype. The Iron Turtle is very well rounded. And you got to be a special type of guy to put him away, and I just don't think Ikram is that guy. So I'm going to go Jung Young Park for the pick. Probably not going to bet him as a dog. I might bet the spread, his plus 3.5, and then the over 1.5 on this fight. But give me the Iron Turtle to get it done against Ikram. All right, I think we're opening up the main card here. Nasrat Haqparast versus Quillen Salkeld. Salkeld, undefeated prospect, 2-0 in the UFC. Beat Anshul Jubilee, but that means absolutely nothing. And then he's coming off of that decision win over Ash Moose, where Ash was kind of crowded and forced into basically just a wrestling fight. And Salkeld won the wrestling exchanges. Then you got Haqparast, who's UFC vet by this point, but he's still young. Extremely good boxer, coming off 2 very close split decision wins, where you could argue he lost both those fights, but those 2 guys are Jared Gordon and Esma Rivix are very good fighters. So I'm going to pick Nasrat here. I just think it's too much too soon for Salkeld. Salkeld's taking this on short notice too. I don't think he's definitely not gonna outbox Nasrat. He's got good kicks. Nasrat's had a problem in the past of checking leg kicks. But I'm like, and then he's not gonna take Nasrat down. Nasrat has very good takedown defense. I just think it's too much too soon. I bet Nasrat. I think Nasrat is a slight dog. Definitely going to bet the spread on him. Definitely going to bet his money line. I wouldn't touch the round lines. I mean, we haven't really seen Salkeld in any type of trouble. He might get chin checked here. Nasrat's kind of hit or miss with the knockouts. And then Nasrat's a tough, durable guy. I don't think Salkeld's going to finish him. But if Salkeld does win, it's probably by finish. So Nasrat's going to be the pick. All right. Next fight, Alexander Rakic versus Azmat Mirzakhanov. I'm going to go with the undefeated Russian here. I think there's the idea of what Rakic is, and then there is Rakic that actually fights. You know, Rakic looks like a superhero. He's huge. He's 6'4". He's jacked. He's got the tattoos. You know, he looks like, and then even his technique is great. He looks like he should be a world champion, but he has no finishing ability whatsoever. I mean, I think his last finish was Jimmy Manuwa, and that was years ago. And then I also think he's chinny. I don't think he's the most durable guy. And especially coming off, ever since he lost, he's coming off of 3 losses in a row to Ankalaev, Yuri, and Blachowicz, which are all very good fighters. But I just, ever since he had that knee injury against Jan, and got knocked out by Yuri, I just think that's made him more gun shy. And for a guy that leaves a lot of his fights close, doesn't get a lot of finishes, I just don't think that's a good recipe here. The Mirzakhanov, he's short, extremely short for this division, going to have a big reach disadvantage, but he's used to that in every single fight. He's a fantastic striker, and I think he's going to get on the inside here, and I think he's going to chin Rakic in the first or second round. All right, next fight, we got Volkov Almeida. I love Volkov. I'm 6'8". I'm right there with Volkov. I'm like, I love rooting for guys that are my size. You know, seeing the giraffes get the thing done. And Volkov really should be the one in the main event fight for this title because he definitely beat Gane in that last fight. Then Dana White said, "Oh, we're gonna take care of you, buddy. You won that fight. We're gonna take care of you." And then they gave him Almeida, which is possibly the worst matchup in the top 10 for him. And the odds have closed for a decent amount here. I looked the other day and Almeida was like a 2.5 to 1 favorite. I think Almeida's chinny. I think Volkov could definitely knock him out here, but I'm gonna have to pick. I'm gonna have to pick Almeida to win by sub. I just think he's gonna take him down and get his back. I'm like, this the level of jiu-jitsu is just different. I think it could be a competitive fight. Volkov can definitely win, can definitely chin him, but I'm gonna go with Jailton Almeida by submission. I think fight to not go the distance is definitely a lock. And then whatever side you like, bet it. I'm like, if you like, it's getting to be close to even odds at this point. So I'm like, if you like a side, go ahead, shoot your shot on it. But I'm probably just gonna play fight does not go the distance and call it a day. Umar Nurmagomedov versus Mario Batista. Got Umar coming off that loss to Merab. Only first loss in his career. They got Mario Batista coming off the win over Patchy Mix, which honestly, Patchy Mix looks like shit, and that win means absolutely nothing now. I think Umar gets it done here. I don't know. I don't think he's going to finish Batista, but I think he's definitely going to show levels. And, those Dagestani guys coming off a loss, I think he just kind of created a whole nother monster here with Umar. So I like the -3.5 for Umar. I don't think he's going to finish Batista, but I think it's going to be a dominant decision. I like the over 2.5 as well. Like I said, I think it's going to a decision. And then we are in the Middle East. So if any round is remotely close, it's going to go to the Muslim guy. All right, co-main event. We got Verna Jandiroba versus Mackenzie Dern. You talk about two just totally opposite women. This is for the vacant strawweight championship. It's not the legitimate championship because Wei Li left the belt. But Dern, very good at jiu-jitsu. Striking is not the greatest, but it's definitely come a long way. She's very aggressive. She is a dog. She will grit it out. And you got Verna Jandiroba, straight jiu-jitsu player. We'll get the takedowns. We'll look to control. Can get the submissions. This is a rematch. They have fought before. Dern won the first one, and I think she's gonna win this one here. I think Jandiroba can definitely take her down, but I think Dern is gonna stay safe on the ground. I don't think she's gonna get finished. I don't think Verna has the best gas tank. So if this gets into rounds 4 and 5, I think Dern is going to take over. I've seen Mackenzie Dern, when she fought Angela Hill, was fighting like a bat out of hell in the 4th and 5th and was beating the piss out of Angela Hill. When it comes to the striking, Dern is definitely better in the striking than Verna. So I'm going to take Dern as the pick. I'm probably going to bet her. Not a huge fan of betting on this fight. It could definitely go either way. And then honestly, I mean, I could see a finish potentially, somebody getting a sub or a TKO, or I could see it going to a decision. So I'm probably just going to bet Dern and be done with it. All right, main event of the evening. Tom Aspinall, the best heavyweight on planet Earth, maybe minus Francis Ngannou, versus Cyril Gane. Aspinall's going to be the pick. I think Aspinall's a good parlay piece. Betting him the minus 5.5, betting him to win by finish. I think that's all pretty much a lock. The only thing I worry about is he hasn't fought in a little over a year because of the whole John Jones situation. He's got some pressure on him to beat Gane in a similar fashion or as easily as Jones beat him. And Cyril Gane, he is a good fighter. I'm just writing him off because I think Tom is that good and he's that guy. But Gane is a good fighter, very athletic, very good striking at heavyweight. But we've seen his ground game be exposed. We know Tom can do that, and we saw him get knocked down by Tai Tuivasa. So Tai Tuivasa is knocking you down and close the distance on you. Tom Aspinall is definitely going to do it. I think Tom Aspinall is probably going to get it done here by knockout in the first round, kind of middle into the first round. So, all right, guys, that was a full card breakdown. Hopefully, I can make this a weekly thing. Try to get through it as quick as possible, just kind of give you quick thoughts on it and maybe some bets you like. But yeah, I'll see you in the next one.